Yep. We need to talk about the AI elephant in the room. So remember not very long ago when Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook Meta was like, the future of the web is going to be the metaverse. And flash forward now as we are just watching this impressive explosion of the AI race taking off. And here's poor Mark trying to figure out why no one's buying any of his stupid helmets. Before I go too deep into this, I gotta keep in mind, some of you have actually been living under a rock, and you may not be aware of this explosion. Well, it starts out with OpenAI's ChatGPT, which is a really powerful natural language processor thing. You kind of got to think of it as someone who's really knowledgeable but not very smart. A lot of facts, a lot of details, a lot of proper structures of how to do things. Proficient in most programming languages and in the English language, but not very clever. This thing can crank out some really decent, boring text. Grammatically perfect, boring text. It takes the user, the other half of it, to know where to push things in terms of the emotional end or importance. ChatGPT doesn't know if it's giving good advice or bad advice, if it's something you should feel good about or something you should feel bad about. It just kind of is. Think of Data from Star Trek The Next Generation, but with way less personality. After spending hours playing with it, I realized personally how incredibly powerful this tool is. The virtual collaborator is the teammate you have on your projects that you can bounce ideas off of and knows how to do the grunt work so you don't have to think about it. And it makes me more efficient as a user, which makes me worried about becoming dependent on it, but that's a point for another topic another time. So this explosion rocked the tech world. Google's trying to play catch up now. Microsoft, which is one of the largest financial backers of ChatGPT, they now recently announced they're going to be integrating it into Bing search and the Edge browser. We are at the beginning of a paradigm shift, a big one. And it's not just OpenAI, but now it's also involving large legacy companies like Microsoft and Google who are trying to get in on this thing, which makes a lot of sense because unlike the text to image generation, which impressive, but a bit of a one-trick pony, writing AIs have the ability to do something that's actually really difficult for the average person to do: information. We've been saying for years that information is the new gold. Before it was about collecting that information, and now it's about using AI to grab and repurpose and use it in more functional ways than before. Your data was really important to advertisers 10 years ago, but moving forward, your data is going to be useful to the rest of the world and vice versa. That's a big change. Microsoft's about to launch their new Bing, and I think integrating Chat AI into a search function, but also having a plugin for their Edge browser that lets it contextually use that AI on any website you're on, that makes a really good argument for going from Google to Bing for a lot of people, and going from Chrome to Microsoft Edge for a lot of people. Do I see people using some of these functions in Firefox? Probably. If it's a function on the internet, someone's going to figure out how to shoehorn it into Firefox. But that also brings the other area, open standards. Right now, there is a large open project called the Open Assistant, and its goal is to kind of do the same things that Chat AI did, but on an open platform. Ideally, in a perfect scenario, you'd be able to install this locally on your devices, which means no internet required, and you'd be able to do a lot of the same difficult tasks. Right now, that's in the very early stages. It's got a ways to go, but I think that much like DALL-E was made by OpenAI as a proprietary platform, and then eventually Stable Diffusion came out as a completely open source platform that anyone can build upon, and I think that's going to be the same pattern we see potentially with Open Assistant. Of course, these AI companies have billions of dollars money ahead of these small open organizations, but it's always so surprising what a bunch of small manpower projects can end up doing. I say that speaking from experience, as I am a Linux guy. Now, I've only scratched the surface. There's a lot to unpack here. If you want to support my unpacking of these things I'm barely scratching the surface of, you can, of course, like this video if you liked it. But we also have a way you can make a direct impact on me, and that's through my Patreon and Labor Pay, which are down linked below. You donate anything you can, and you get your name thrown up on this board wherever I decide to put it. It's usually that side, I think, maybe. The names you see here are my supporters, and I could not do this without them, and I appreciate every single one of them. Let me know if you've had a chance to play with some of these new AI chat tools, if you're curious about jumping into it, or if you think this is the next big bullshit NFT-like thing. There are some people who are very skeptical, and I get it, but I really think this is the real deal.